You've sat through enough forgettable presentations to know the difference. Some feel like a checklist of slides. Others, they grab your attention, hold it, and leave you thinking about them days later. The difference isn't magic, it's skill. Because the top 1% of presenters don't rely on talent. They rely on structure, clarity, and presence. In this episode, I'll walk you through 4 key lessons that the best communicators use to deliver powerful, memorable presentations, whether they're pitching a big idea, leading a team meeting, or stepping on a stage. These strategies are practical, proven, and once you know them, totally repeatable. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Work Chat. Today, we're diving into 4 key lessons that will help you deliver presentations like the top 1%. Here's the first truth. Great presenters don't try to say everything. They say one thing clearly. Most people overload their presentation with content. They think more information equals more credibility, but the top 1% know that less is more if it's focused. Think about the last presentation that stuck with you. You probably don't remember all the stats, but you remember the main message. Why? Because it was framed clearly and repeated often. Steve Jobs used to rehearse one key phrase again and again before every product launch. For the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's it. No jargon, no data dump, just a simple idea you'd never forget. Here's how to apply this. First, ask yourself, what's the one takeaway I want them to remember 24 hours later? Then, say it early. Repeat it midway, reinforce it at the end. Finally, strip away everything that doesn't support that core message. The top 1% aren't not necessarily smarter, but they're clearer. Here's the second big lesson. Top presenters don't perform, they deliver. And yes, there's a huge difference. When people try to perform, they over-rehearse, memorize every line, sound robotic or over-polished. The result? It feels fake, and audiences tune out. But when you deliver, you sound real. Like someone who knows their stuff and cares about their audience. The top 1% treat their presentations like conversations. They pause, they emphasize, they breathe. They don't chase perfection, they chase connection. Next time when you are preparing for a presentation, try this. Practice in bullet points, not full scripts. Imagine you're explaining the idea to one person who really needs to hear it. Record yourself and watch. Are you coming across as genuine or rehearsed? So what happens if you mess up a line? Well, that's okay. Just keep going. Most people won't notice unless you make it awkward. Remember, people don't want a flawless speaker. They want a relatable one. Moving on to the third lesson. This one's huge, especially if you're nervous. The top 1% don't match the energy in the room. They set it. They understand that energy is contagious. If you show up low energy, unsure, or monotone, your audience mirrors that. But if you show up with intention, presence, and purpose, they lean in. This doesn't mean you have to be loud or overly animated. It means you have to be engaged in what you're saying. Barack Obama's famous pause? That's energy. Brené Brown's calm confidence? That's energy. Simon Sinek's intensity when talking about purpose? Also energy. Here's how you can own the energy. Start strong. Speak in a slightly louder voice than usual to open. Use vocal variety. Slow down to emphasize, speed up to build momentum. Use body language with intention, open gestures, eye contact, posture. You set the tone. You own the stage, even if it's a Zoom room. All right, let's move on to lesson 4. And this one can really elevate your presentation. The top 1% don't speak to slides. They speak to what their audience wants next. Let me explain. Most presenters walk through their slides like a to-do list. Slide 1, Slide 2, Slide 3. It's boring, predictable, forgettable, but the top 1% speak to a transformation. They answer this unspoken question, what does this mean for me? They don't just give data, they show relevance. They don't just explain features, they paint the future. Here's how to do it. Frame every key point around benefit. What this means for you is, use real-world examples that mirror the audience's pain or goals. Ask future-focused questions. Imagine if. What would happen if you did this tomorrow? One helpful tip is to use the you ratio. In top-performing presentations, you appears 2 to 3 times more than I or we. Because in the end, great presenters aren't the hero of the story, the audience is. Okay, it's time to do a quick recap. If you want to deliver presentations like the top 1%, here are your 4 key lessons. Lesson number 1, clarity over content. Focus on one core idea and make it unforgettable. Lesson number 2, deliver, don't perform. Speak like a person, not a script. Lesson number 3, own the energy. Set the tone, and your audience will follow. And lesson number 4, speak to their future. Make your presentation about them, not just your slides. These aren't tricks, they're habits. And the more you practice, the better you get. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being clear, connected, and useful. That's what makes your message stick. That's a wrap for today's episode. If this episode helped shift the way you think about presentations, do me a quick favor. Hit like and subscribe, and share this with a friend who's prepping for a big meeting or pitch. And hey, drop us a comment. What's the biggest challenge you face when presenting? We're all getting better together, and I'd love to hear what works for you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep speaking up, and keep leveling up. See you in the next episode.